Sausage Man from Sausage Man Forge here. Just like to welcome you to the announcement for the Nordic Edge Australian Beginner Knife Maker Group Destruction Challenge. Got a couple of people here already. Good evening. And so it's Wednesday, the 3rd of October, and it's our start for our Destruction Challenge. And so on the slide we had on the screen is our last time winner that when we did it, we had an absolutely awesome time. So Dan won with his big, I think it was a chopper inspired by one of the Master Smiths. Now, let me think. My brain's turned to porridge here. That's all right. I'll think of it in a second. So, we've got a few more turning up. Russell, Dane, good evening. And so tonight, we're just going to talk about details of the challenge, what the parameters are. We've also got a guest. Wayne's going to be coming on shortly. He's going to talk about chopping stuff. Wayne's into making some really big knives and choppers, and often does videos with his hog splitters and swords, chopping stuff up. So he might be able to give us a few tips on what to look out for when we're doing that kind of stuff. I think it's been about 3 years since we did the last one. And some of you may know I nearly had half my hand off with the big kukri when I put in the drill press. So I'm not planning on doing that one again. So the rules are simple. Make big knives, film yourself doing a destruction challenge, do some sharpness tests to see how your blade held up, and submit your YouTube video. I think that sums up the long and the short of it. Oh, yeah, wow, we've got a few more. Bobby, how's it going? Oh, Laughing Fish Forge will destroy it. Yeah, man. Well, there's me on the picture. Definitely. Jamie Bishop, Sausage Man Forge, teach at Nordic Edge, and I love making knives. And obviously, we've got our other guest, who I'm sure Bjorn's going to throw up on the screen shortly, is Wayne from Pirate Forge. Any second. Love this live studio stuff. Here we go, Wayne. How you doing, mate?
It's early.
5 a.m. for you, mate. Thank you so much for coming.
Very early. I was telling the guys I do not get up this early for anything other than fishing, but I got up. I got up to be here with these guys, these great guys.
So Wayne's from Pirate Forge. I've met Wayne a couple of times at Blade Show. Awesome dude. Always gets dressed up, cruising around like Jack Sparrow, or maybe get Jack Sparrow's best mate. But it's pretty fun when you're at Blade Show. You see people getting right into it like that. And so, mate, your videos are like well renowned for doing your hog splitters and stuff like that. Just let us know about yourself, your forge, and what got you into doing this kind of stuff.
All right, my name is Wayne Milligan, Pirate Forge. I've been making blades since spring 2017. So I think it's like almost 8 years now or something like that. Time flies, dude. It feels like I just started making blades yesterday. And like I think I'm coming up on like 7, 8 years, something like that. What got me into making blades, crazy backstory. Like I said, I'm actually a critical care nurse. I went to nursing school, I had my bachelor's in nursing, and I was the charge nurse and assistant manager over a 26-bed ICU open heart critical care unit. And that was what I did, man, medicine basically. But I've always been a country boy, outdoors guy, and always down for an adventure. And I had a pirate bar. We got a new house. It had like an office in it. We did it all up for a Halloween party. I loved it so much. We left all the skeletons and shit up everywhere. And it said, let's call it a pirate bar. We're gonna leave the pirate bar in the shop. And that's kind of what started everything. I expanded my bar. We used to have a lot of crazy parties out there. I expanded the bar, um, and I built this humongous door. I mean, the door is like 4 inches wide. It's a big dungeon door. Did all kind of metal work on it with the well. I was just welding and grinding. Had never forged anything, and it had a Mortise lock in the door that I installed, but the key that it came with was a standard size key. I needed a longer key because the door was so freaking thick. So I saw the guys on Forged in Fire forging stuff, and I was like, hell, I'm pretty sure I could do that. So I went and got a torch, a map gas torch, and some fire bricks, and set them up. Heated up a piece of steel. I bought a Harbor Freight anvil, old piece of junk. For you guys in Australia, I don't think y'all got Harbor Freights over there, but Harbor Freight is basically like the lowest of
Oh,
the low
we know, man.
tool.
We understand. Yep.
Okay, so that's what I got. I got a Harbor Freight anvil, and man, bro, was I ever hooked? Like seeing the metal start to glow and get hot, and it was a little bitty thing, and then just hammering it and making it take shape. And dude, I forged a skeleton key, and I was like, this is the most awesome thing ever, dude. I was hooked, and that's what started everything. It's really cheesy because that was the key to my destiny. I should have brought the little
Oh,
key.
mate,
I've still
that's
got it, but
awesome.
that's what started everything, y'all. And one thing led to another, and now, dude, I don't even work in healthcare. I'm a full-time business owner. And that's a whole nother story. We could talk a whole podcast, whatever, about about running a business, especially making a business out of bladesmithing. But I have done that, and like I said, my business continues to grow. I've actually got one employee, my apprentice of 3 years now, is working with me, and dude, we're just building the brand. So
That's
that's the
awesome,
story
man.
in short.
I mean, I understand you won your episode on Forge and Fire as well, so you went full circle there. Like, saw the guys doing it, made a
Well,
skeleton key, then ended up going on the show and
well,
all that stuff.
actually, I was on Knife for Death first, and this was
Oh, right.
this is my guillotine from Knife for Death. This is the
Yeah, yeah,
actual
right.
blade. So Knife for Death that's the one that Bill Goldberg and Two Lamb hosted, and we had to go to Atlanta to shoot that. And it kind of goes along the lines of this destruction challenge because it was the first TV show I was ever on, but it was basically just a destruction course. You made a blade, and it was like American Ninja Warrior meets Forged in Fire. And we would have to take these blades to this obstacle course, and this is what I took my guillotine. And dude, we would be chopping, hitting all kinds of crazy targets, and that was the premise of the show. And basically, I made a stupid mistake. We could talk about that if you want to, but I made a stupid mistake and I got second place, and it royally pissed me off big time, dude. That was awful. Second place is the first loser. It was awful.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
So
hearing you.
when I got a chance to come back for Forged in Fire, like a year later, they had me on the actual Forged in Fire show. Dude, it was kind of like a kamikaze mission. I was like, damn it, I've got to win this show, and that will be my sign to leave healthcare and pursue this full time. And dude, I had a year and a half of experience, total newbie, but yeah, I won my episode, and yeah, dude, the rest is history.
Awesome. And I understand you made some knives for like guys like Dan Bilzerian and stuff like that. What's he like
Made a
as a guy?
bunch of swords for Dan and some of his buddies, and like I said, they're cool, interesting people. But sometimes dealing with these celebrities and stuff, uh,
A little bit out of control.
it's not my favorite thing to do, man. I'm kind of a down to earth guy, and I'm kind of to the point now. I'd rather make, $300 blades for the good old boys, the working class guys, as opposed to making $30,000 swords for some rich
I'm hearing you,
asshole
dude. Yeah.
that's not gonna appreciate. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, I was into that whole thing of chasing the big crazy builds. I mean, one of the builds, dude, we put over $60,000 in sapphires and black diamonds in the sword. You know, but it's real easy. I think as a smith, someone who doesn't do what we do, for them to underappreciate what we do. They underappreciate the value, the work, the skill put into something. And I find that I get so much more appreciation from the good old working class guy like me, like you guys. And that's why I'm actually starting to shoot more for trying to do more streamlined process stuff where they get blades that come out of my shop with my heat treat, my fit and finish, but at actually a lower cost so more people can afford it and carry the blades. So but yeah, dude, I've been all over the place, man. This 8-year journey, I have learned a lot. I still have a lot to learn. But yeah, I made blades for Dan Bilzerian, his brother Adam, Bill Goldberg. I made a guillotine for Bill Goldberg. So yeah, dude, just kind of all
It's
over the
cool.
place.
Well, before we move on to the main part of the challenge, can you like when we are at Blade Show this year, you were mentioning about your swamp patina and stuff like that. Thought it was really cool. You give us a couple of minutes on what you've been doing with that and how it's developing.
Again, 2017 when I first started making blades, one of the things that I really liked, there's a company called Bloodroot Blades. I don't know if they're still around, but they made some really beautiful hand forged culinary blades, chef knives, and they had these beautiful patinas, man. It was like these blacks, these darks and lights, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And from that day on, I was like, I want to figure out some kind of a really nice patina to put on blades. And dude, I went at it for probably 3 years, putting anything and everything I could possibly put on a blade to try to develop some kind of a natural patina. And that was whenever first started to get what I liked with that. The swamp wash is what we called it. And then kind of elaborating on that now, where you see the tones of copper with the blues and purples and yeah, a lot of people want to know how to do that thing, man. Maybe whenever I'm really old, and maybe I'll give the secret away. But I think some of this stuff, it's individuality and also being getting out there being a self-starter. If everyone just gives away all this information, especially stuff like that, I think that's going to create a lack of creativity because okay, they've already got the cheat code to do this. Um, I think it's fun. Like I said, I would have never came up with the patinas and stuff that I do if I wasn't trying to figure out how someone else did their patinas. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I tell folks, hey, get out there, throw everything you got at it, mess with temperatures, mess with sit times. Just someone's likely to come up with a patina that's even cooler than that swamp wash. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm hearing you. Yeah, yeah, it's
so
great.
so that's why I tell people. Like I said, it just it goes to as far as people all the time talk to me like how to be successful being a bladesmith or how to make a name for yourself. And the biggest way to make a name for yourself is to stand out. Now, if you're trying to be something that you're not, I think people are going to pick up on that and it's not going to translate. But I think if you embrace yourself, your individuality, your uniqueness, no matter how weird that is, just be weird, be yourself. Who cares? I think that's what's going to make you stand out. And again, like messing with patinas, messing with finishes. I started this thing. I love burying blades. I'll make a complete blade, go bury it several feet under the ground, and where my creek flows over everything else. I'll leave it there for months and then dig it up, and it's got this crazy finish. Like I said, just coming up with different crazy things. And again, when you're doing that, you're going to make something that's very unique, and you'll be able to stand out more, in this heavily saturated market of blades.
Very wise words there, mate. For 5 o'clock in the morning, you're pulling out the big stuff.
I haven't had any coffee yet, bro. And
Yeah, there we go.
your beard looks wonderful, by the way.
Oh, thanks, mate. Matches
almost
my
I
croaky
can't
voice
answer
at
the
the
question.
moment.
I'm so busy admiring this wonderful, beautiful Australian beard. I'm working on mine, dude.
It's growing on me, mate. Well, mate, we better kick on because we are actually here about doing the destruction challenge. But that's awesome, man. Appreciate it. So now the time requirements for this challenge that we got today. So I guess the first one is that the members, you have to be a member of the Australian Beginner Knife Maker group on Facebook. Even though we're on the old YouTubes tonight, it's just how the technology worked out. We want a big blade, so we've got to be at least 300 mil, so that's 12 inches in the old Freedom units, and knife has to be completed in October, so it's something you could have had sitting around as long as you finished in October, you're good to go. And I guess we need a video, and so
It's got to be 12-inch blade length.
minimum 12. So as long as it's over that on blade length, we're good to go.
Okay.
Yep. So like your big fella there, as long as it was finished in October, good to go. And then I guess the video, we need to get obviously some evidence. And so either some good tripod work or get someone to film it for you. We want it to be pretty clear on our actual challenges, which we'll go into in a sec. And then maximum of 2 minutes long, like give or take a little bit, but we can't have it 10 minutes long because we're never going to get through all the entries. So we'll keep it down to 2 minutes. Last time we did about a minute, and I don't think it was enough. So we've made it 2 minutes this time. And then I guess the last thing we'll go on to the challenges, I guess. Unless someone in the live stream has a question. And I'm just flipping between screens here, so just give me 2 secs. Anyone got any questions? No, that looks pretty good. So, Wayne, I'll move on to the next bit. Okay, so we got the ice block chop. So, frozen 2-liter bottle or an ice cream container or something like that. And if we channel old mate that we had last time, Mad Mike with his big choppers, then usually, do something exciting with it, lots of ice flying around. We're going to do a copper rod chop, so a 1/4 inch, 6 mil, a golf ball or coconut chop, and a wood chop, 2x4 or similar. And you can score bonus points. And so as you're going, if you come up with something that's a little bit cool, a little bit exciting, and like Wayne's a kind of an expert on that kind of stuff, chopping big fish and using his big hog splitter to separate.
Just light it all on fire. If you want it, gasoline, lots of gasoline or anything else that will set it on fire, that you definitely get the cool points. I like to set everything on fire before I cut it up. So yeah, that's one tip, Wayne tip.
So gasoline safety.
More fire, more better.
Exactly.
Good deal.
And so, any style of knife, yes, mate. Any style. So
what about axes? What about axes? If someone wants to make an axe, I mean, we do.
As long as it's 300 mil on the blade edge, why not?
What's 300 mil? We don't.
I told you, 12 inches.
12 inches. All right.
Yeah, 12 inches in the freedom units, mate. So as long as it's over 12, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
I like axes, man. Axes are awesome too. Very destructive.
Well, it's a chop challenge. You don't have to have a knife, but it's a bloody big axe. Nice big bearded job. You do it. Yeah.
I'm working on one right now.
Why the hell not?
Yeah.
Mr. Berkman, looking forward to you being there too, mate. You always love a big chopper. Imagine that one I don't know whether you sold it to Mr. Riley Burns, but that would have been a contender. That was massive, that jobby. Okay, let me just check. We got anything else? So, for bonus points, come up with something crazy. Key thing is to show how well your blade holds up to abuse. If you make it funny, even better. Now, sharpness testing. So after the destruction, we're going to test to see if the edge is still sharp. A bit like the ABS Master Smith test. Give it a chop on a few things to see if it can still hold an edge. So before you do something silly like, shave hair, to make sure you're not going to got a burr on there you're going to slice yourself up with. But so we want a hanging rope slice. Again, there's a bit of technique to that. So I suggest you practice it before you get to the competition. Paper slice. Now, you could just slice a bit of paper, but it could be, paper roll. You could do anything. Man, if you could cut a paper plane in half in the air, that'd be pretty cool to see. I don't know if it's possible, but someone can give it a red hot go. And then some water bottle. chops and things like that. We've seen some of those guys going through multiple water bottles. Very, very cool when you get it right.
I just saw some
So,
comment come up there. Make
yeah,
Smith, Luke.
yeah, Luke Makesmith. Yep.
I recognize. I've seen your stuff, dude. I do like your style. I scroll through a lot of stuff. I'm bad about getting on social media and doing a whole bunch of commenting and stuff, but I'll scroll through and make a post. And yeah, your blades stand out, man. A lot of times when a blade profile or a blade maker catches my eye, I'm like, ooh, that's a sexy blade. And yeah, dude, Luke, yeah, you got some style there, bro. Every time I scroll by, I like what you make, man. So that's
Luke
cool.
makes some incredible knives, man.
Inspire
So
you.
well spotted, mate. I
Local fish
concur.
market. Cut a bear Monday.
Yeah, man.
Don't y'all got
Hook
those
you.
over there?
Oh yeah, man. That's our favourite.
Probably a tough fish.
Look, man, it's one of those things you eat crocodile, and I'm sure you're in Florida, so you would have eaten gator.
Alligator, yeah.
So when you eat crocodile here, it's all farmed, so it tastes like chicken because it's fed chicken.
Yeah.
When you eat wild croc, it tastes like barramundi, but you're not allowed to eat wild croc. Not allowed.
Yeah,
Unless you're out there with the Aboriginal fellas that are still allowed to hunt it. So, yeah.
I got you. That's cool.
But that's it. Yeah. So barramundi is prized by everyone, including the crocs. Okay. So, yeah, any bonus material, and just on that note, like I guess any final tricks for videoing that kind of thing, mate. You know, you do the you're hanging your fish, you're hanging your hogs when you're chopping them, and I understand that you and Randy go and use that for gator bait, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We do use it for gator bait or even coyote bait. We have a lot of issues with coyotes, so but the hogs are invasive here in Florida and many parts around the south of the United States. They're invasive. They destroy crops, and actually they're very fierce. They'll start to grow those horns out or those teeth out the side of their mouth, and dude, they will attack you, man. They'll disembowel you. They'll hit you and open your guts up. It's not a good thing. So a lot of people, I'm a little bit of a hippie at heart too, and I love animals, man. But you always get the people that get all upset about, oh, you cut an animal, blah blah blah. Yeah, piss on what they say there. But yeah, the hog test is fantastic if you can get a hold of a hog. Like a domestic pig. I mean, you can buy a pig from the butcher shop, and it's not cheap, obviously, but yeah, as far as really seeing the performance, what a blade can do, I'm not endorsing violence. I'm not promoting violence, but I think you should be capable of that if you need to protect yourself, your loved ones, your family. As far as a real world application of a blade, I mean that's what blades were made for. Was for war back in the day. There's really no better test to the lethality of a blade than hanging up a big porker. It'll give you a good idea what it's going to be like to hit a large target with flesh and bone, and also see how your blade is going to perform. It's really odd, man. Whenever you send a big sword through a pig, dude, you can feel every bit of that pig as it goes through. If that makes sense, I mean, it's a split second when that sword goes straight through him, but man, you can feel it impact the flesh. You feel it go through that sternum. You can feel the vertebrae. I mean, just like it's interesting. And when you get the sword dynamics right, dude, you feel that going through there. And that's something I think everyone should eventually try. I mean, like I said, working up to that, and obviously the budget on getting a wild hog, but yeah, it's teach you a lot about your blades.
Indeed. Yeah, we got similar problems with hogs here too, man. So, but more out bush, not in the city, you know. So,
And if they were fresh, I wouldn't have no problem actually eating them. Pig is good, dude. I don't eat a whole bunch of pork. I eat mostly fish, but but yeah, I don't like to waste anything. So yeah, if we don't eat it, at least using it for gator bait or feeding gators, or using it for coyote bait. We have a lot of coyote issues here as well. And the coyotes are pretty savage here.
So you're on the Gulf Coast in the northern Florida there, aren't you? Yeah.
I'm next to all the rednecks, man. I'm a little bit of a redneck myself too. So I'm the northwest portion of Florida, and so I'm really close to Alabama. Now I do live on the water. I'm there on the Gulf of Mexico. I'm within just 2 minutes of Escambia Bay, where Escambia River goes to the bay. Um, but yeah, I'm up here with all the country boys. That's how I'm able to go out here and we shoot these hogs, and you use them again. If I buy a pig from the supermarket, then you're going to look at least $250 to $300 for a big pig, and that's kind of a lot of money to spend if you're just a small maker trying to get started. Now, once you get a business going and you have a legit business license, all that, well, then that pig becomes a business write-off. I mean, you still got to pay for it, but at least the government isn't taxing you on that pork or target.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Now, Bjorn just asked, far from Fort Myers, which we went to Fort Myers after Blade Show this year, but it's the other end of the state, Bjorn.
Yep.
Yeah. Fort Myers is right getting close to Miami, and it's right up the top near Atlanta. Georgia, and what do you
Okay.
say? So you're
I
up
like I
north.
like my part of Florida, man. My part of Florida's got a bunch of just good old folks, old timers, and it's a real mix with the city life and the country life. You could be. I drive 10 minutes to the south, and boom, I'm in downtown Pensacola, thriving city. You drive 20 minutes to the north, you're back in the boondocks, man. And I love both aspects, man. It's really cool place. Really cool place besides Australia. I wouldn't mind checking out Australia. Australia seems really awesome.
Well,
Really
you got to
does.
remember too, Australia is as large as the lower 48 states in physical size. When you look at it on the normal map, it looks small, but it's a big place too. And then we've only got 10% of the population you guys have got. So
It's really cool, dude.
there's a lot of nothing in the middle. Yeah.
I was a big fan of Crocodile Dundee when I was a
Oh yeah.
kid, and I probably owe some of my love to the Blades from old Mick Dundee, bro.
Oh yeah.
I mean, who
He's an
doesn't?
Aussie hero, mate. Mick Dundee.
So yeah, man. So I've always had a love and a fascination with Australia since
Well,
a little kid.
it's just off topic, but it's right at the point. When you go to the Northern Territory, and again, it's one of those. It's not a state. We don't have enough population, so they call it a territory, and that's just a governmental type thing. But it's a large area. It's not quite a million people living there. Across a very, very, half of it's tropical, half of it's desert, and then you've got all these little towns. And because of Mick Dundee, remember that scene where he comes in through the door with the dead stuffed crocodile, and he's wrestling it, carrying on. When the American reporter was there, that pub was called the Walkabout. So every single town in the Northern Territory has a Walkabout hotel now because of that movie. And I'm not joking.
That's cool, man.
Crazy. Yeah, it's funny.
Really cool.
It's funny. But okay, so moving on from there, and so our timeline it's today's the 3rd of October, so we're good to start any time from now, and you have to have your knife complete with your video submitted by the 27th of October. So that's, what are we talking, 3.5 weeks, I guess. And again, there will be an entry link on the Australian Beginner Knife Maker group probably tonight. If not very soon, we'll hopefully pin that at the top of the timeline board there. Now, the destruction challenge is for members only. Now, generally in the Australian Beginner Knife Maker group, that means Australian residents, but there are a few from overseas. Oh, Australian, New Zealand, yeah. And I guess anyone within that is happy to have a go, enter, do your video, do your chop test. And so now, I guess we've got a bit of Q&A. We have some time for that. We're only half hour in, so plenty of time for that. And I guess we could come up with some giveaways. at the end of that. So let's do some Q&A first. Has anyone got some questions? I know that the whole thing's lagging a little bit.
Hey, what is a top tier waffler?
I have no idea. This bloke is a top tier waffler. Oh, he means you like talking a lot.
Oh yeah. I have a hard time shutting up.
That's all right, man. We're on a live stream. Listen to my voice. I'd rather you be talking.
Well, there's way more voices in my head. I only let some of them get out. So.
No, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
This is actually me trying to shut up.
No, you're good. You're good. Tyson's a country lad, mate. He doesn't talk much. You know, like the good old boys. You talk to him for half an hour and they go, yep.
I was curious what a waffler was, you know.
No,
I don't eat many waffles.
No, he's saying, yeah, we could take it either way. I'm going to take it in the good sense of the way, but that's right.
Oh, it's fine.
How's it being judged? You know what? I'm not sure how it's being judged, except there's going to be a panel of judges, which might be everyone on the beginner knife maker group, or it might be like no, you know what? I'll leave it to Bjorn to come up with, and he might have an answer for me. I haven't seen it in the notes, but there'll be something, and I'll let you know. We're going to have another live stream like this again, and so if there's details like that, I'll fill it in. But if this is just to kick it off, make sure everyone's starting their knife. You know, our only requirement is it's a chopper. I think one of the things I want to mention is no requirement, like a hidden tang, full tang, whatever, all that stuff can have a guard, doesn't have to have a guard. But I do suggest that somehow you fix a lanyard onto it so that when you're doing the chopping, it's not going to slip out of your hand. You got some sort of tie on there just to give you a little bit of security so it doesn't go flying out of your hand. Other than that, yeah, we're good to go. Okay, yeah, Bobby, it'll be good to see you hook into it, mate. Well, is that Galadriel? Does it have to be pretty? No. It can be the ugliest piece of crap you want, but it's got to win the judges. And again, if it's judged by your peers, then doing a video inside 2 minutes will be a big Look, man, you can edit it down. There are some free editing software you can get on your phone. You know what, man? I don't think you're going to be punished if it's 10 seconds over, but we can't have anything that's like 5 minutes long. It just gets, if we get 100 entries, man, that's days of watching videos to get through it all. So if I kill a sheep in the video, will I get banned? Yes, Tyson. No killing sheep, man. If you got a carcass, I think we can judge that, but not a live kill, mate. That'd be too much. And I know you're shit stirring because that's in your nature, but no. Justin, it'll be good to see you have a go, mate. Okay, Bobby's going to come back on the tools. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It just has to be a functional chopper. That's all we need. And again, you don't want to have anything that's dangerous. You don't want it coming apart at the handle when you're chopping. So you just want to make sure it's constructed well, but it does not have to be beautiful.
This definitely isn't beautiful.
It'll sure make a mess of something, though.
Oh, it absolutely did, but yeah, not beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't seen that knife or death. I have heard about it before, but that's cool that you it's disappointing you made a mistake and come second, though.
Well, it was the whole thing is some of the targets we did, it was like they hung a 5-gallon bucket full of rocks and sand. So we had to actually chop through these buckets. So we're smacking these edges up against rocks. I don't care what your heat treat is. There's a certain line that eventually the geometry, to make good cutting geometry, you don't hit rocks with that. And we were supposed to be able to sharpen our blades for the second run, and they're running late on time. It was like 3 a.m. we were seeing when we were filming the final run, and like, we don't have time for you to sharpen your blade, yak yak yak. So I still was able to cut through things, but there was this meat test where they had like probably 30 pork tenderloins hanging down. We had to run up on this bridge and we had to chop these pork tenderloins, and they've got to fall straight down into this big bin, and you got to do it until like 30 or 40 pounds lands down there.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
I
Yeah.
was just in battle mode, and I was hitting it so hard it was cutting, but the big old pieces of meat were flying and landing a foot from the thing. They weren't going straight down. Again, my knife was still cutting through it, but it wasn't as razor sharp where I could just swing it, go through, and fall straight down. And dude, I was still able to beat everyone's time, or beat the time of the other guy, but because half the meat, 20 pounds of meat, landed off the side of the scale, I was what, I had like a 4 or 5 minute penalty.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's what got me, dude. So it's not like I went through the course really quick. But yeah, it was a stupid thing. You got to follow the rules when you're playing the game. And
Yeah, exactly. It's not about going in hard at it.
you got to
It's about
mind
getting
you got to mind your meat. You can't just be slinging your meat wherever you want to sling it. And I've gotten in trouble for that before in the past.
slinging your meat around too much.
Yeah. So it was
Well,
no
got
surprise.
got your second place that time, didn't it?
It was no surprise. It took me down that time. Yes.
Indeed.
It's mind your meat, fellas. Mind your meat. That's the Wayne, another Wayne tip. You can write that down.
Yes. So, Laughing Fish Forge, what is the preferred edge geometry for cutting through tuna? Maybe that's a good question for you, mate. Although, have you done tuna, or is it mostly what was
Tuna?
that big? What have you cut through before, as far as fish is concerned?
Okay. Well, every fish is different. A tuna is going to be similar to a salmon. I mean, like a snapper or a barramundi. I think that a snapper is probably similar to like a barramundi that you guys got. It's got probably some heavy bone structure, and it's got some heavy duty scales on it. That's a much more difficult target than a tuna or a salmon. Now, the only thing you're going to be coming into a tuna with, it's a lot of mass, a lot of meat mass. So your geometry is going to come more into play on a big tuna than a salmon. Like, I've cut salmon for salmon. I mean, it's not really much of a challenge, but the edge on what's the preferred edge geometry on a tuna? I'll let you guys know something. I don't measure any of my edge geometry. Everything is instinctive. If I'm doing a chef knife, I'm going to drop that bevel down low. If I'm doing an axe, I'm going to keep the bevel up, maybe a convex bevel. If it's a chopper, I do mess more with the geometry of the secondary bevel, the sharpened edge. I pay more attention to that than the actual angle that I'm putting on it. But again, I do change the angles. But if we're getting as technical as we could be, I would say dropping the bevel down, something like cutting through a tuna. It's not as hard of a target. It's more, making the cut. So I would think a flat ground edge, flat secondary bevel, and probably dropping that degree down. I don't know what's the degree of a chef knife, like 12, 15 degrees, something like that.
Yeah, 15, 17, something like that.
So
Yeah.
I'd probably be more like around a 20-degree edge or something. But again, what edge your blade's going to be able to tolerate and support is based on your grain structure. It's based on your heat treat. It's not so much on your Rockwell hardness. You can have a blade that's 60 Rockwell, 62 Rockwell. It can still have just terrible blown out grain. So it depends on how good your heat treat as
get
to
your
how
heat
fine
treat
you can
right.
take.
That's it. I would suggest apple seed grind, bring it in sort of so that you got something behind the edge, just so that you're not smashing the shit out of that edge.
You just got to swing for the hills. Tell people if you're going for a big target, like so many people that have never swung at a big target, they focus just on the target. If this coffee cup right here, we can't see it as the target, they're focusing on just hitting it here. You really got to be focusing on what's over here. You got to be going through the target. Whenever you pay too much attention to right there to that, I see people slowing down as they go to hit it. You're really wanting to go cut through it, if that makes sense. So I mean, it does come down to power and the angle of attack.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Now, Dane's asked, can he make a guillotine? Yeah, if you want. If you reckon it's going to make it spectacular. Haven't got any French nobles for you to feed through it, though. But, whatever.
But you can't swing it if it's a guillotine, right?
Yeah, but it's a chop test if it's going to chop. But, yeah, it might not meet some of the requirements, mate. But,
It
you know
look
what?
cool.
Yeah, it would look very cool. Bash a couple of watermelons in half, have a go. So, is there anything else that I've missed? I think Bjorn's mentioned in the chat that there's forms are going to go out when the videos are posted. So I think it's going to be a members vote on that one. And now let me just double check here. So has anyone got any other questions? And if not, and I'll leave that open for another minute, we could go on to the giveaways. And again, we've got a little bit of a lag coming through, which is normal. But it'll be one of those things. I'll ask a question and then it'll be who posts the answer quick enough. But have we got any other questions about any stuff? Not going to just be funny. You're right, Dane. It would be funny. Oh. No, Tyson, you don't get bonus points if you cut your finger off. I didn't get any points for cutting half my hand off. So I don't know if you saw that, Wayne. Last time we did this, I had a big kookery in the drill press. And I sliced him all the way up through here. Microsurgery and all that stuff. But look, it all works. Got that skin graft on there, but I'm very lucky. Very lucky.
They did the helicopter spin of death.
It only went like that, but it was enough to pull it into my hand, and it just was at the right angle. I'd only dressed it up, but I got it too sharp for what I was doing.
We've got a rule over here in the shop, me and Brandon. We don't sharpen a thing until it is totally done. But when you're doing some culinary blades and stuff like that, the geometry is so fine. The geometry will cut you before you even put an edge on it. But
yeah, I was just went to the grinder to flatten up to put the handles on, and then forgot to go and do the handles, and then remembered later and just chopped myself. Yeah,
could have been worse. Anyway. Could have been worse though.
So yeah, I think it's don't hurt yourself because you'll lose points for that. That's a good rule. So there we go. Well, if no one else is going to ask questions, let's do this. Now, Bjorn, have you got any pointers on this? Okay, look, stuff it. Let's get into it. And so, here we go. First prize we have today is a big piece of steel. We got some 1084 carbon steel, 10 by 50 by 900 mil. Wayne, that's 3/8 by 2 inches by, like a yard, 3 foot. If you need a big piece of steel to do the challenge, this is your chance. So, question 1. Ooh.
That was my alarm.
To get up this morning. There we go.
It was an hour earlier we thought it was got to be up at 5 a.m., but it was actually 6 a.m., but actually 5 a.m.
Yeah, shit. You know what? Next week we change our time zones again, and it probably would have been at that right time next week. Okay, so here's the question. What is the next KAA knife show coming up? And when is it? Actually, whatever. Next show. So anyone in the chat, fire it up there. Win yourself a bar of 1084 carbon steel. There is a bit of a lag there. I'm sure there's keyboards tapping away like crazy. My crayon's never, ever write fast enough to get it to win any of this stuff. I hope the feed's still working because I've got nothing. Here we go. Bar of 1084. Yeah, there we go, Dane. Look at you go, mate. On the money. So Dane gets a bar at 1084. So let me just find my little questionnaire sheet. Okay. That's first prize. And it says last prize we have today is a very cool tool, the Pops drilling jig. This fella. He's made by Walter Sorrows. Me and Bjorn went to Walter's workshop. He's a very lovely fellow. And he's obviously making these for Pops Knife Supplies there in Atlanta. So where are the drilling jigs made? I said where they're sold, but where are they made? So you need to know where Walter Sorrows is from.
Walter Sorrells. Very nice guy. I like watching his videos because everything's all monotone.
And funnily enough, someone asked me when I got back to Australia, does he talk like that in real life?
I guess he does.
100% he does. He's such a nice guy though.
Oh yeah. I think every bladesmith has learned something from Walter.
Now I hope everyone's Googling where Walter makes those drilling jigs.
Atlanta.
Yes, and that is correct. He is in Atlanta.
Okay.
In the greater Atlanta countryside, but yes, okay, we've got two Atlantas, but
I didn't know those jigs existed. That's pretty cool.
Only just out on the market, mate.
I guess it lines up your handle material and
I think how it clamps onto your blade. So if you're doing a tapered tang, your handle material's floating. I haven't had one in my hands yet. I think that's how it works. So there's a little picture of it there. So it's clamping onto the whatever profile you got on your tang.
Made in America. That's a good one.
Yeah.
He wasn't wrong.
He's right, yeah, but
wasn't wrong there, but
okay. And now I'm just gonna double check me notes. And what does it say? Okay, that's all, folks. That's a bit of Bugs Bunny right there. Thanks, Bjorn, for that joke. Remember, knife entries need to be in 26th of October, 5 p.m. The winner will be announced in another live stream Wednesday, the 30th of October. Back here on the old YouTubes. We'll include the top videos as well as the prizes for the winners. So I guess once we get to that point, we'll obviously announce, where to vote, do all that stuff. But I believe it's going to be in around, as the entries come in, we'll post that information. Massive thanks, Wayne, for getting up really early and joining us for the live stream. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, guys. I'm here for you. Get that day started early and watch the sunrise. So
it's always a good day when you get to watch the sunrise.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, guys, get onto those big blades, and thanks again for joining us today in the live stream. And I just apologize for my sexy voice I've got today. It's not my normal monotone. There we go. Bjorn's mentioned, can the guys just email sales@NordicEdge.com.au for your prize? The guys that won, obviously. And send Bjorn the information, probably your postal address and that sort of stuff. No worries. Well, thanks again. See you on the next one.